we can find just kind of through database searches. But at this point, I'd like to invite any members of the Markway family who would like to tell stories about him, if they want to come up and give anything.
Go for it, Jack.
My fan base is over there, I guess. I'm not going to repeat a lot of things he said, but I'm not going to repeat a lot of what was said there. I had some other things ready, but just a few things that were not there. As far as teaching music, Joe had he was self-taught. He played the violin, he played piano, he played the organ, he played the harmonica, and he decided at one point that I would be the one to play the violin. And he worked with me, and he was really had a quiet understanding with his statements afterwards. After a couple of months one summer, he said, "Well, you tried." And then he said, "You tried really hard." And for him, that really summed up the way he approached things. When he lost his auto dealership during the Depression, he just picked up and took off on his own again, found a way to make a living, and that's what he did. I was fortunate. I was at the age where I couldn't say no, as I didn't have wheels of my own. I was probably 14. He elected me to help him work on cars, do carpentry work, help remodel an old house he had. And we got to talk a lot, which at the time I viewed as work. Now I look back and it was much more than that. Just an example of the way he would do things. One day I busted a knuckle trying to get a bolt loose in a car. Really busted it. He very patiently said, "You didn't remember what I showed you on technique, so this wouldn't happen." I pointed out then that he had a bruised knuckle, and his response was, "You're never too old to learn." One other time I had, you're 14, 15, you're having a bad day, who knows why. You're just having one. And I was grumbling and carrying on, and he looked at me and said, "Did you have breakfast this morning?" I said, "Yep." And then he said, "Did you have a bed last night?" I said, "Yeah, I did." And he said, "Looks like you're doing all right to me." So it was an understanding that where he came from, much, much harder times, given a name that was neither his father nor his mother's to start off with. And later on, he took on the Markway name, the people that took him in. His first stop probably it's murky, probably Nebraska or Iowa, got sent back to New York. And then about 5 years old, when he came to Central Missouri, his first family he put with was not a good situation, basically abusive, and he was then by parish priest moved to the Markway family. So he didn't just have a one-stop happy ending fairy tale, but it worked out for him and he was happy with it. I just probably sum it up. He had a thing that started from him trying to teach me, who had zero musical ability. I mean zero. He always just would say, "You show up, you do your best, you keep going, and love the people in your life the best you can." That's what he wanted for his legacy. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. So for the statue unveiling, we have the other family members, unless they want to say something, can untie and uncover. We'll start with the statue and then we will unveil the plaque. So it's like Greg is going to start with this.
You might remind him about the temporary plaque.
So while they're taking photos and before we unveil the plaque, I just want to make a note that this plaque will look different from all the others that you see around town. That is due to a logistics issue with our supplier. once they get the actual plaques in, it will be the one that we have here will be replaced and will look like all of the other ones.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Let me get a stick up there. Yes.
The next thing for celebration is a tour of the Brown Grand Theater, which will start at noon. The Brown Grand is having a very large workshop this week.
It's more stable than you think.
Yeah, it is. He's right there.
He's listening there. I wanted some copies of that too.
It is.
Thank you.
That's so cool.